Today we are going to study active filters. We know a filter is a frequency selective circuit that passes a specified band of frequencies and blocks or attenuates signals of frequencies outside this band. Then we can classify the filters in a number of ways. We can classify the filters as analog or digital filter, passive or active filter, audio frequency or radio frequency filter. When we consider the analog or digital filter, the analog filters are designed to process analog signals, while the digital filters process the analog signals using digital techniques. And when we consider the passive and active filters, depending upon the type of elements used in their construction, the filters may be classified as passive or active filters. This passive filter uses only passive components like resistors, capacitors and inductors. And when we consider an active filter, it uses an active component in addition to resistors and capacitors. So when we consider an active filter, it uses an active component like transistors or op-amps. And here we are going to study an analog active filter which uses op-amp as the active element. Then the type of element used dictates the operating frequency range of the filter. For example, the RC filters are commonly used for audio or low frequency operation, whereas the LC or crystal filters are employed at RF or high frequencies. So depending upon the components used, the operating frequency of the filter changes. Now the active filters have certain advantages over the passive filters. These three are the main advantages of the active filters. The first one is gain and frequency adjustment flexibility. Since the op-amp is capable of providing a gain, the input signal is not attenuated as it is in a passive filter. In addition, the active filter is easier to tune or adjust. That means when we consider an active filter, it consists of an active element, and here we are using op-amp as the active element, and we know this op-amp can provide a gain to the input signal, and hence the input signal is not attenuated here. But in the case of passive filters, it does not have an active component, and hence it cannot provide a gain to the input signal. And also when we consider an active filter, it is easier to tune or adjust. We can easily tune the active filter to a particular cutoff frequency, and also we can change the cutoff frequency from the old value to a new cutoff frequency by using simpler methods. Then the second advantage is no loading problem. Because of the high input resistance and low output resistance of the op-amp, the active filter does not cause loading of the source or load. Then the third advantage is cost. Typically the active filters are more economical than passive filters. This is because of the variety of cheaper op-amps and the absence of inductors. Then we know the most commonly used filters are low pass filter, high pass filter, band pass filter, band reject filter and all pass filter. And here we have to study a first and second order low pass and high pass filters, then band pass and band reject filters. Let's first study the first order low pass Butterworth filter. A Butterworth filter means it has no fluctuations in the pass band and stop band. This is the circuit diagram for the first order low pass Butterworth filter. Here this RC network is used for filtering, and this R1 and RF resistors are used to provide the gain. And we know for a low pass filter, it passes the low frequencies and it blocks the higher frequencies. And this is the cutoff frequency of the low pass filter. So this low pass filter passes the frequencies below this cutoff frequency and it blocks the frequencies higher than the cutoff frequency. And this dashed graph represents the ideal first order low pass filter response. So this is the pass band and this is the stop band of the low pass filter. Let's now consider the working of this low pass filter in detail. We can see this first order low pass Butterworth filter is configured in non-inverting configuration. That means the input signal is actually applied to the non-inverting terminal. And we know for a non-inverting amplifier, its output is equal to the gain into voltage at the non-inverting terminal. Then what is the gain of the non-inverting amplifier? It is 1 plus RF by R1. Okay, so the output Vout will be 1 plus RF by R1 into voltage at the non-inverting terminal. And here the voltage at the non-inverting terminal is V1. And we can see this V1 voltage is the voltage across this capacitor C. Okay, so by voltage division rule, we can calculate the voltage across this capacitor, because here we are applying the input voltage Vin and here we have a resistance R and here we have a capacitor C. So we can find the voltage across this capacitor C by using voltage division rule, and that voltage is the voltage at the non-inverting terminal of the op-amp. We know the impedance of the capacitor is minus jXc. So the voltage across this capacitor is this Vin into minus jXc divided by the total resistance. And what is that total resistance? R minus jXc. Okay, so this V1 voltage can be given by Vin into minus jXc divided by R minus jXc. So according to the voltage division rule, the voltage at the non-inverting terminal of the op-amp or the voltage across the capacitor C is given by V1 is equal to minus jXc divided by R minus jXc into Vin. But this minus jXc is the impedance of the capacitor. Okay, and we know minus jXc is equal to 1 divided by j 2 pi f into C, or 1 divided by S into C, where S is that j omega or j 2 pi f. Okay, then substitute this 1 by j 2 pi fc in equation 1. Then we will get V1 is equal to 1 divided by j 2 pi fc divided by R plus 1 by j 2 pi fc into Vin. Okay, so for this minus jxc, this 1 by j 2 pi fc is substituted. Then taking the LCM in the denominator, we will get this R into j 2 pi fc plus 1 divided by j 2 pi fc in the denominator. Okay, so we will get the equation as 1 divided by j 2 pi fc divided by j 2 pi f rc plus 1 divided by j 2 pi fc into Vn. Then we can cancel this 1 by j 2 pi fc from the numerator and the denominator. Then we will get V1 is equal to this Vn divided by 1 plus j 2 pi f rc. Now this is the voltage at the non-inverting terminal of the op-amp. Hence the output voltage Vout will be that gain into voltage at the non-inverting terminal. That means V out is equal to 1 plus Rf by R1 into V1. Then substituting for V1, we will get V out is equal to 1 plus Rf by R1 into Vin divided by 1 plus J 2 pi f Rc. Okay, then we can write this equation as V out by Vin is equal to AF divided by 1 plus J into F by Fh. In this previous equation, this Vin is taken to the left side and this 1 plus Rf by R1 is represented as AF, and in the denominator this 1 plus J 2 pi f Rc is represented as 1 plus J F by Fh. Hence that Fh will be 1 divided by 2 pi Rc. Okay. Then in this equation, this V out by Vin is the gain of the filter as a function of frequency, and this AF is equal to 1 plus Rf by R1, and it is the passband gain of the filter. And this frequency F, it is the frequency of the input signal, and this frequency Fh, that Fh is equal to 1 by 2 pi Rc, and Fh is the high cutoff frequency of the filter. Then from this equation we can calculate the gain magnitude and phase angle equations of the low pass filter. What is the magnitude of V out by Vin? Here we can see V out by Vin is AF divided by 1 plus J F by Fh. Hence its magnitude will be square root of AF square divided by square root of 1 square plus F by Fh all square. Hence it will be AF divided by square root of 1 plus F by Fh all square. Okay, and the phase angle will be minus tan inverse F by Fh. So the gain magnitude and phase angle equations are mod V out by Vin is equal to AF divided by square root of 1 plus F by Fh square, and that phase angle phi is equal to minus tan inverse F by Fh, where this phi is the phase angle in degrees. Okay. Now the operation of the low pass filter can be verified from the gain magnitude equation. First consider this condition: at very low frequencies, that is f less than fh, we will get the mod V out by Vin approximately equal to AF. How we will get this? Consider this equation. Here when this f value is less than this fh, this f divided by fh value is less than unity, or it is less than 1. Okay, and here we are squaring that value. When we square a value less than 1, it is again decreased. Okay, so that f divided by fh square will be very small value. So this 1 plus that small value can be approximated to 1. Okay, hence root 1 is available at the denominator, and that root 1 is 1. Okay, so when f is less than fh, we will get this V out by Vin approximately equal to AF. Now at f is equal to fh, this mod V out by Vin is equal to AF divided by root 2, or that is equal to 0.707 AF. How we will get this? We can consider this equation. Here when f is equal to fh, this f by fh value will be 1, because f is equal to fh, so it will be fh by fh and it will be 1, and we are squaring that value, so 1 square will be 1. Okay, so at the denominator we will get root of 1 plus 1, or we have root of 2 at the denominator. So this V out by Vin will be equal to AF divided by root 2 when f is equal to fh. Now consider the third condition. At f greater than fh, this v out by v in value will be less than af. How we will get this? Consider this equation. Here, when the f value is greater than fh, this f divided by fh is greater than 1, and we are squaring a value greater than 1, so we will get a large value here. Okay, so that 1 plus large value is coming here. Okay, so as f goes on increasing, this value goes on increasing. So actually this numerator value is increasing when f is increasing beyond fh. Okay, so that af by large value will give a value less than af. So when the frequency f is greater than fh, this v out by v in value will be less than af. Okay, then considering these three conditions, we can plot the frequency response of this low pass filter. So when the input frequency is from 0 Hz to fh Hz, this v out by v in value will be af. And when the input frequency is equal to fh, that gain v out by v in will be 0.707 af. And when the frequency f goes on increasing fh, that v out by v in value, that mod v out by v in value goes on decreasing, and it will be less than that af value. So consider that frequency response of the low pass filter again. Here we can see this low pass filter has a constant gain af from 0 Hz to the higher cutoff frequency. This one is the higher cutoff frequency fh, and at fh the gain is 0.707 af, and after fh it decreases at a constant rate with an increase in frequency, and that is when the frequency is increased tenfold or 1 decade, the voltage gain is divided by 10. In other words, the gain decreases 20 dB or 20 log 10 each time the frequency is increased by 10. Hence, the rate at which the gain rolls off after fh is 20 dB per decade or 6 dB per octave, where the octave signifies a twofold increase in frequency. Then the frequency f is equal to fh is called the cutoff frequency. So this is the cutoff frequency fh, because the gain of the filter at this frequency is down by 3 dB from 0 Hz. Then the other equivalent terms for cutoff frequency are minus 3 dB frequency, break frequency, or corner frequency. Let's now consider how we can design this low pass filter. These are the different steps involved in the design of low pass filter. The first step is choose a value of high cutoff frequency fh. Then the second step is select a value of C less than or equal to 1 microfarad. Normally we take the value of C as 0.1 microfarad or 0.01 microfarad. Then the step 3 is calculate the value of R using the equation R is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi fh into C. We know the equation for fh is 1 divided by 2 pi rc. Then we have the value of fh and C. So from that equation we can calculate the value of the resistance R. Then select the values of R1 and RF depending upon the desired passband gain AF using AF is equal to 1 plus RF by R1. Okay, so for a required gain we need to calculate the value of RF and R1. In this case we will assume a value for R1 and we will calculate the value of RF for that required AF value. So these are the steps used for the design of the low pass filter. Now let's consider the case of frequency scaling. Once a filter is designed, there may sometimes be a need to change its cutoff frequency. The procedure used to convert an original cutoff frequency fH to a new cutoff frequency fH dash is called frequency scaling. And to do the frequency scaling or to change a high cutoff frequency to a new cutoff frequency, we need to multiply R or C but not both by the ratio of the original cutoff frequency to the new cutoff frequency. That means this fH is our original cutoff frequency and we need to change that cutoff frequency to a new cutoff frequency fH dash. So for that we need to change either the resistance R or the capacitor C, and the new value of resistance is R dash is equal to R into fH divided by fH dash. Okay, that means if we are changing the old resistance value to a new resistance value, then that new resistance value is equal to that old resistance value multiplied by the ratio of original cutoff frequency to the new cutoff frequency. Okay, and if we are changing the capacitor C, then the new capacitor value C dash will be equal to, C dash is equal to the old capacitor value into fH divided by fH dash. Okay, and we need to change either this resistance R or this capacitor C. Okay, then in filter design the needed values of R and C are often not standard. Also, a variable capacitor C is not commonly used. Therefore, we will choose a standard value of capacitor and then calculate the value of resistor for a desired cutoff frequency. This is because for a non-standard value of resistor, a potentiometer can be used.